We have 4 of these around this city, and they're all filled with salt like this. Each one has about 1,400 cubic yards of salt. And I hope everybody's getting B-roll. This is a good chance for that. After today's press conference, we'll have a chance that our guys will show how we load our spreader trucks. We have the tractor out. We have a brine. Our brine machine is here, and we have a brine truck coming, which is a great chance to get B-roll of all of our equipment in use. We also have another warehouse over here full of salt that we can show you guys too. But we have a lot of things planned for this winter, and I want to bring up the mayor to talk a little bit more about what we have going on when it comes to roads.
Okay. Thanks so much, and welcome everyone back to one of our 4 salt domes. And I want to touch on a couple of things. Number one, just before we get into the meat and potatoes, I just want to acknowledge, obviously this is campaign season. I all know that you're probably going to edit out everything that I say because of that. That's okay. My point is, just like last time, we are going to run the city, whether there's a campaign going on or not. And I am going to be the mayor of Albuquerque speaking to the public, whether it's a campaign or not. So I just want to acknowledge up front, because we've been getting, that includes sharing crime statistics. So we're not going to do anything different. And that also includes in general. Any mayor would tell you the same thing. But I also understand that, you guys got to do your thing on your end. So we all get it. Just want to put that out there up front. Okay. Now, we do this every year, which is my segue into the fact that every year we have had a preparing for winter press conference to explain sort of how we get ready for the cold weather. And so that's why I'm here today and why our team is here also. So we want to touch on a number of issues. One thing is, we thought that tonight could be the first snow. It looks like, based on the weather, and you all know that better than us, that's probably not going to happen. Looks like the rain might clear out and it won't get that cold. But just also letting you know, we always try and time this with the first big dip in temperatures. So we do want to walk everyone through, though, our normal plan and also the changes this year. And so here's a couple of things. Number one is, we know that we are ready for winter. That is the important thing. And over the last several years, we've really stepped up how we deal with winter in terms of advanced preparation. It might be very not glamorous, but preparing has a lot to do with getting the vehicles ready, getting the material ready, and getting our overtime schedules ready. And so, believe it or not, the biggest stress point for all of these folks is who's covering what when. And that's what we've gotten a lot better at over the years, and that's what we're ready for again. So what we have is the ability to deploy all of our resources as fast as we can. That's the goal. And usually it helps, sometimes it doesn't. So as some basic fun weather reminders, we have these fun different products. We have this material that we use to obviously prevent ice on the roads. We have plenty of it. That's always the first question we get. We still have lots of it. We also have the ice slicer, which is a fancier version that works to reduce ice at 22 degrees and above. Now that also means, remember, if 22 degrees, if it gets lower than 22 degrees, there is no technology or there is nothing the city can do to prevent ice. So that's when you see us actually closing things and closing down the city. It's all about 22 degrees. That is the most important number that we look at for a sustained period of time, right? Not for an hour. But above 22 degrees, we have all sorts of solutions. And now we're introducing for the first time a preventative solution, which is the brine truck right there. And so what this does is, actually before the temperatures drop, we can actually use this to actually protect and hopefully prevent us from having to use all the other material. So they'll walk through a little bit how that works, but that's been our biggest new addition to keeping our roads safe during difficult driving conditions and cold weather. Now, our crews, of course, are ready 24/7. We have up to 75 people we can activate and 42 trucks. So this is another question: does the city have snow plows? Does the city have? The answer is yes, and the answer is 72. And I talked through the sort of 2 kinds of salt that we use and our new brine machine that we're going to use in advance. So we also want to talk about our vulnerable populations, as we always do. From the fire perspective, there's always a warning from our fire department to be really careful. Do not heat your home with your stove or your oven. This is always a cause of challenges. The other one is trying to have some sort of open air fire that is not in a fireplace. And we know it gets cold, but instead of doing that, please just call 911. We can find you a warm place to sleep. That is much more important, and we know that a huge number of fires in the winter are caused by folks trying to keep their home warm through ways that eventually lead to fires. So also we want to remind folks that our public transit system follows very similar rules in a sense that they will operate in general and they will modify operations in certain areas of town. Especially we have the valley effect where things are fine in the valley, but they're difficult in the heights. That's going to be the same with city closures. As you know, we always follow APS with respect to snow closures if it is a school day. If it is not a school day, the city makes that call. And we will also make it geographically where it could be a 2-hour delay for folks coming in from the East Mountains. Or actually, as we've seen lately, Rio Rancho has gotten sort of more snow than the center of Albuquerque. So sometimes we make that delay apply to folks out in Sandoval County as well. Now, the other item we always want to touch on is our unhoused population of folks who don't have shelter during these times. We are set up as we were last year. Right now, we have a bed available for everyone who wants a bed. And we know not everyone does, but we want to remind folks that that bed is available. We have also completed renovations at the Gateway West, so it is a totally different place than it was before. The number is roughly, Charlie, 8, 9 million? Somewhere around there of renovations at the Gateway. So yes, it is a shelter. That's true. There are bunk beds and so forth. But now it is a place that is totally renovated with floors, bathrooms, all the kinds of things that you would expect that we should have had in the first place, but now we actually have those out there. So we also have the ability to expand our shelter to capacity into emergency community center space. We did that last year, I think twice. We do it every year a couple of times. So again, through emergency management, we can expand those beds. So in general, we have a bed for everyone. Last thing is transport. We now do this 24/7 year round, but we want to remind folks we do have point-to-point transport. So our community safety department will transport someone literally from a street corner to a shelter. So we encourage everyone to take the shelter bus that works and goes to all the different shelters. That's the same bus system we've had for 10 years. But we now also, on top of that, offer point-to-point transportation for those who need it. And again, we do that regularly, about a dozen times, sometimes as much as a dozen times a night. But we can scale up that process as well if we need to. Okay, so with more on each of these things, let's hear from some of our experts, including I did forget our four-legged friends. So Animal Welfare wants me to remember to let everyone know that, when the temperatures dip, like you got to really notice your animal and what they're used to and so forth. And so especially during the day, if we get a cold snap during the day when animals are out, you may have to come home to let your animal in and so forth. But it's just a reminder that the weather certainly affects our animal friends as well. Okay, so let's start with folks at Solid Waste and our director, Billy Gallegos.
Excuse me. Good morning, everybody. My name is Billy Gallegos, Director of Solid Waste. We just want to start out by saying, Solid Waste has conducted and implemented a new severe weather plan. We've always had a plan, but we've actually incorporated additional contact information. As some of you know, we could have snow on one side of town and not the other side of town. And in the residential areas, which are could be our trash pickup day, we may not be able to get into that area first in the morning. So we have our supervisors, our superintendents, everybody going out, our safety team from the solid waste department. We go out and we evaluate just to ensure safety from our driver's side and make sure our drivers are keeping you guys safe. So we have implemented a little bit more of an early morning advisement. A lot of our communication is going to be on our webpage. We will get early communications out through our webpage. 311 will have the areas that we cannot hit. Again, it could be just a pocket in the Fort Hills area, but everybody else in that Monday pickup could be picked up. But we just wanted to inform everybody we will get your service. It would be more likely if we did close that day, we would pick you up the next following day. Our fleet's always ready. We prepared them. We're ready to go. We are back up. We do assist the MD if they fall short on drivers or they need assistance resources. We do help them out, and we are ready to help them out. Again, teamwork. We appreciate it. With the closing mark, just have patience with us during this time frame because, again, if we do miss your trash because of the weather, we will pick it up the next day. You're welcome to call 311. They will inform you of those days that we will be back and pick it up. So, again, thank you guys, and we appreciate it.
All right, and reminder too, as we bring up DMD here, our plowing order is always based on the sort of busyness of the road. So the highest priority is always, there's words for these like arterials and minor arterials and things like that. But if you just think about it like this, people are always like, well, why isn't my neighborhood plowed? Well, the number one priority are the busiest streets, and then we work backwards from there. And so with more on this, let's bring up our DMD director. Fred is actually filling in for DMD, Fred Montoya, the guy who's actually in charge of all of this.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. My name is Fred Montoya. I'm the Street Maintenance Division Operation Maintenance Superintendent. That means I'm responsible for making the decisions, what trucks are we going to deploy, and our employees that are silent first responders, and that they're ready when the crews come out. We have 72 personnel and 45 trucks with snows and plows ready to go. Our teams practice usually late October on all the snow routes, and we go through our trucks and make sure everything's operational and ready to go at that time, as well as in the spring we shut it down, and then again in the summer we go through them one more time. Last year we added the salt brine machine that Mayor talked about. We make brine, and we have 3 salt brine trucks that we can deploy up to 5 days prior to a storm, as long as it's not raining, and we'll pre-treat all our slopes, bridges, and shaded areas with the brine. Please stay back 50 feet when you see these brine tanks out there in the trucks, and they will be guided with supervisor trucks behind them with their lights, because it is spraying out. And it might be a sunny day, and you might be like, why are these trucks out? But that's what they're doing. And as you know, we watch the weather, and we're ready for any big storms. At that time, if a big storm event's gonna happen, we'll activate our 12-hour A and B shifts, and these guys are ready to go at any time. In DMD, we call ourselves silent first responders. That's because we are first on the scene when the weather is here for downed trees and also debris. And we're also always ready to support APD and AFR whenever they need us. So when you see our trucks, give them the 50 feet spacing and let them do their job, and they'll be out there at night and in the cold fighting these storms. And our teams today will show you how they load the trucks, and show you the loader and the brine machine if you guys have any questions on that stuff.
Cool. Thanks, Fred. You're welcome. All right, thank you so much. And for transit operations, our director, Leslie Keener.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Leslie Keener. I'm the transit director, and ABQ Ride has been in full swing with winter weather preparation since about September. Each year we pull out our winter weather action plan and go through it. We talk about our staffing levels, what prompts us to activate that plan, and who's all going to be involved, including updating contact information. So our maintenance staff is prepared. They're ready to go to maintain our facilities. That includes our Ken Sanchez facility on the west side, Rusk in the middle of town, and then our various transit centers and platforms. We've got ice melt, shoveling, and plowing capabilities as well. For the roads, we do rely heavily on DMD's resources for clearing, so we are in contact with them quite regularly as the winter weather approaches and while it's in town, just to get an idea of what's all going on with the roads. However, as you know, we can be adversely affected by the weather, and that could also in turn affect our operations. So it's really a safety first approach for us. As the weather rolls in, we have our road supervisors that come in early. They're sent out just to get an idea of what conditions are and to be in touch with the DMD resources as well. They'll ensure that the roads are clear and safe on our fixed route operations of where we operate our buses. If they're not, at that time we'll make some calls on whether we're going to run some shorter routes. We do this a lot in the foothills, off of Tramway, where we go into the Spanish Bit at Montgomery. That tends to ice up more than it does downtown. So we'll shorten those routes from time to time. And possibly we might even end up suspending service depending on how bad the weather is. It is really safety over schedule, and we preach that to our teams and to our drivers. What we ask of the public is if the weather is predicted to be severe, if it's possible, try not to travel, avoid it. We know that's not always possible, so if you are venturing out, we ask that people make sure that they're prepared with the proper weather gear, so just in case we have to suspend or we see delays in service, that they're prepared. And also, we'll do our best to make sure that our supervisors are making the rounds if we are shortening service to make sure that we don't have any stranded riders out there. Again, like several of you have mentioned, I would just suggest to please be patient with us and then stay in the know too. As the conditions change, you'll see updates in the news, on socials, all of our social channels at abqride.com on the Detours webpage, and then the Transit app. These are all places that we will continue to post information as our conditions change. And even on our ART platform monitors, we'll make sure that we have, even ahead of the storm, just so people can see it, starting now, you'll see them up there where it will tell you where to go if we're experiencing delays or suspending service. And then, as always, you can call 243-RIDE if you have questions about service changes on days with inclement weather. For many of our Sunvan riders, they tend to cancel when we're having weather. They don't want to go out in it. And they can actually do that now on the app, so I would just quick plug for ABQ Ride Go. They have the ability to schedule and also to cancel their rides there, but they can also call 243-RIDE too to speak to a customer service rep, and then they'll cancel and rebook them as well. But again, we do everything in our power to make sure that we're able to maintain operations and then to keep people informed if there's any changes to that. Thank you, Mayor. Thanks.
All right, thanks so much, Leslie. And I think want to round things out with a little bit from emergency management. Do you want to share anything, Joseph? Yes, Mayor. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. Just like many of the other departments, we take out our plans well before winter comes and just reiterate what we have in our inventory, verify that our supplies are still ready to go. I want to talk about the community resiliency and specifically ahead of the winter season, the Office of Emergency Management wants to ensure that the community is prepared and informed and resilient. For emergency assistance, always call 911, and for non-emergencies, call 311. Each year, winter storms brings the potential for freezing temperatures, power outages, hazardous road conditions, and disruptions to daily lives. Preparedness starts long before the first snowflake falls, and it starts with each of us. We encourage every household to take the simple steps now. Build an emergency kit, which includes water, non-perishable foods, flashlights, blankets, and medication. Winterize your home and vehicles. Check heating systems, insulate pipes, and keep your gas tanks at least half full. Stay informed. Follow official city channels, local news, weather alerts and closures, or emergency updates. Check on your neighbors, especially seniors, individuals with disabilities, and those without reliable heat. Our emergency management team works closely with city departments, county partners, and utility companies to ensure that we can respond quickly to severe weather and restore services as safely as possible. Together, through preparedness and community support, we can reduce the risk and keep Albuquerque safe this winter. And most importantly, if you see something unsafe, report it. And if you need assistance, reach out. And most importantly, stay ready, stay informed, and stay warm. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks. All right, Dan, you want to do Q&A?
We're gonna have a chance for some Q&A if anybody has questions. But I want to point out our brine truck just showed up. We love those guys. That's our new truck that will help us pre-treat the roads. But if anybody has any questions or if we want to do some pull-asides with any of our directors in a bit, we can do that as well. Yeah.
Can you explain what the truck does?
The brine truck, we'll corner Fred after this, and maybe he can talk a little bit more about how it works. Yeah.
It's like making pickles. Reduces the freezing point.
Right. Cool. Well, we have a chance now to do some B-roll, and our guys will show you with the tractors and with the brine machine how all that works. And, of course, this is your chance to see how the spreader works and the plow works, too. And just corner us if you have any questions.
You want to guide them on the tour?
Yes.
It's like show and tell.
Right. Come on, Fred.